tomorrow. Now we move on and Poland will probe possible links between the Jeffrey Epstein scandal and Russia, with Prime Minister Donald Tusk warning that the case could pose serious national security risks. Tusk said Warsaw has set up an analytical team alongside the Justice Ministry, the Prosecutor General and Special Services to assess whether a formal investigation should be launched. He noted that experts increasingly suspect the operation may have been a so-called honey trap designed to compromise Western political and business elites, particularly in the US. Tusk added Poland could push for an international investigation if concerns are confirmed, stressing that any involvement of Russian intelligence would mean potentially damaging material against global leaders. He said the matter could not be ignored and vowed Poland would not look away from what he called a threat to state security. Let's in fact listen into what the Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk had to say.
I komentatorów, i ekspertów zakłada, że jest bardzo prawdopodobne, że była to przygotowana operacja rosyjskiego KGB. Ten tak zwany honey trap, słodka przynęta, pułapka zastawiona na elity świata zachodniego, głównie Stanów Zjednoczonych.
Alison Mutler joins us once again to discuss this. Of course, this Epstein case has been the top of the headlines all around the world now, and even Donald Tusk, the Polish Prime Minister, saying that he sees a potential national security risks in the Jeffrey Epstein case. We're of course the release of millions of documents, the subjects of which are extremely diverse. What kind of intelligence threshold is required before such allegations move from suspicion to formal investigation?
Well, I mean, we are seeing a pattern. Those of us who've reported from Eastern and Central Eastern Europe over the decades, we know about the honey trap type operation, which the KGB was famous for. I mean, they used to entrap all kinds of diplomats and politicians who visited countries, what they used to call behind the Iron Curtain, Eastern Europe, when we had communism. And that's how they would entrap them and make them become useful assets. So in this part of the world, intelligence services, politicians are much more aware of the way the Russians operate. He used the word KGB. I don't speak Polish, but he used the word KGB. It's now called the FSB. But obviously the FSB has taken on, all the intelligence operations of the KGB, who were absolutely brilliant at this kind of operation. That's not to say that no other intelligence service in the world operate in that way, but the KGB did gain sort of global, or I suppose, infamity rather than fame for doing this. So what level? At the moment, we are perhaps, maybe Polish or officials that have, been digging deep and finding all kinds of information about Polish officials who are not public names for the rest of the world. But if they are seeing a pattern and it is consistent with what they know about the way the former KGB used to operate, then it would warrant an investigation, and it would ask questions: is how much is the FSB, the current Russian intelligence services, the main domestic one, how much has it reformed since the communist times? And I'm sure there may have been some reforms, but that this kind of operation is, I'm afraid, is as old as the hills, and it was what the KGB was infamous for during the Cold War. That means up to 1990, and that's the way they used to entrap their enemies. Is basically compromising people to make them useful to a foreign regime.
Alison Mutler, as always, it's a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much for taking the time on the broadcast. We now move on and over to East Asia and